of a good thing to do is to find where the highest point of the head is, and consider on a horizontal, like how much does the top of the head veer off the horizontal there. So, yeah, half closed eyes and pushing and lifting, like letting the, you know what I mean, pushing and letting the paint itself almost on the way back down, like. I suppose all of this messing around is to kind of get some, it feels like the hair to me, that kind of movement. Yeah, just something like that. You know, I think there might be even a little bit of a kind of cerulean blue colour coming in again. Maybe even there a little bit. I'm going to see about finding some sort of, well, that green is gorgeous, isn't it?
Anya, why did you change to a smaller brush there? Sorry, is it just about change of colour or?
It's great to ask the questions. I think because, I'm not really very sure actually. Oh, I know now. I was maybe going to look at the shadow that sits in the socket of the eye. And I think that's a better size to describe that shadow.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was trying to decide whether to do the green at the top, you know, and then I thought, no, I think now is the time really to enter into the face a little bit more. And this is a better size to describe things in the face.
Okay.
I mean, you might say that is, but actually I err on the side of going bigger first.
Okay.
Work your way down, kind of, yeah. I would. I love your
Tell me, could you tell us a bit more about how you apply it? Because the way you're holding it, and you seem to twist it every time, or is that just me?
No, there's ways of holding the brush and everything. I'm kind of conscious that not everyone has these brushes now as well, and so, but I guess what it is maybe too is that it's more like that you're just doing your best to see the thing that needs to be explained and finding on your table the best tool that will explain it. And looking back at the bit again, finding the best colour and the consistency of paint that will make the mark. And then looking again and kind of committing to the mark. You know, but I can talk a bit about a bit more about the way I'm using the brush and things. But I'll kind of enter into the face there now and see if it comes up. Thanks for the prompts there as well, Marion.
No
and
problem.
see what comes up as I'm yeah, thanks very much.
Stop.
That was a great help. I'm only joking. I know it's good, and I see like it's a necessary thing, but we have 2 days together, and I'll see you all individually too, and I want to kind of, you know, see from your viewpoint and everything. Okay. And I suppose most important for me is passing on something of the kind of endeavour of it all, like. Alright, so now with the, what colour was that? I think that was sap green and cadmium red again. And I'm going to put a touch more of the ultramarine blue into it, because I'm looking at the colour that comes in from the hair down there into the temple. Kind of on the way into where the eye might be located. And I think I want to do something for the cheekbone as well, like. Maybe use a little bit more water. And this is probably dried by now, so I could maybe re-establish the line of the jaw, just to be a bit more kind of decisive about where that might be located. And I think I wanted to maybe drop it down a little bit more than it had been. Okay. And then there'll be the shadow that reads almost like a triangle from here, really, where the eyebrow meets the light on the forehead. It's kind of fairly directly below the dark that's up there. So I think the line is more helpful at the forehead than it is down here, so that's why I'm trying to soften the area where the shadow meets the skin down here. And then there'll be a kind of slightly warmer hint for the ear back there maybe. It's kind of helpful to indicate the ear, I think. Okay, and then something for the shadow that sits under the nose, that's attached to the nose, and kind of, it's a little bit cast by the nose too, I suppose, but to see where that would sit, maybe in relation to the ear. That's not my alarm.
No, it's me, I've turned it off, sorry.
Yeah, thank God. I think it might soon be my alarm. So something to indicate where the bottom of the nose sits in relation to the eyebrow and the chin, you know, kind of roughly halfway maybe, but more to believe your eyes, you know, and consider the vertical line where it would cut through the eyebrow and things. So just something to explain the location of the nose. And I guess the extension outway of the nose would be explained by the underside, like the spherical end of the nose having something underneath it. You can see that there's a shadow that's kind of rounding around the bottom of the nose there a little bit. I don't know if I've made it too low down there, but we'll see anyway later on. Nothing here would be set in stone, like it'll all dry a shade lighter and you can continue adjusting it as you go, which is kind of it's part of the pleasure of working in this way, is that you can always kind of be engaging with it and shifting the edges all the way through. And these brushes are great for lifting off, and this paper is helpful so that you can excavate the light again if you need to, or make any changes you might need to. Now I'm going to move to the smaller brush just for a minute, because the eye on the other side there, I can see the C shape of the eye on the other side of the face, and I think it'll be no harm to put that in, because that'll kind of indicate the position of the amount of skin between the nose and the amount of skin between the eyebrows. Something of that eyebrow there, I think. And this might probably come back a little bit more, at least there might be something more defined in that area of that eyebrow. And then maybe this can come in a little bit higher up, I don't know. You know. Alright, and then a little bit of the cadmium red into it. In order to explain the shadow of the upper lip. So the things that I'm looking for are something to define where the hair meets the forehead, something to explain the location of the eyes, and usually the eyebrows are very helpful, because where they stop and the light above them starts is very clear shape. And below that then something to describe the underside of the nose, whether it's cast, shadow or attached. And then something for, which I'm going to do now, the upper lip. So there's lovely dark in the upper lip. And what I want to do is to find the corner of the mouth. So in relation, say, to the eyebrow and the jawline, and in fact the nose and the jawline, say. So see here between the nose and the jawline, on a diagonal, sits the corner of the mouth, kind of. And you can just decide. Priya, would it be alright?
I'm for another like 5 minutes.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, thanks, Priya.
Is that, thanks very much. Is that okay with everybody here?
Oh, sure.
Work my way down. I'd say 4 minutes. Thanks ever so much. Okay. So I was talking about the distance between the nose and the, you know, so you are locating things best you can in space before doing any sort of manipulating of the paint or anything. You're wanting to find the thing, and often finding the thing is enough. So finding the corner of the mouth and where it sits in relation to the nose and the edge of the face. And then I think there's a kind of an upward slant, like I'm looking at the light on the skin beneath the nose there. The shape of that light could be called a triangle too. And even the upper lip could be called a triangle. Now I'm kind of going with the higher location of the nose there. So I'm going to get that drip because it's pulling the nose down. See what that drip is kind of saying? This is where the nose ends. And actually, I think I'm happier with the nose ending on the higher dark, I think there. Yeah, so the mouth is sitting back. Corner of the mouth might be there, so I might take a little bit off. But let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to find the dark of the upper lip best I can in relation to the position of the nose and the eyebrow above and everything. Something like that, I think. Yeah, I might stop about there maybe. And then I can find the shadow. So the next thing that I find helpful then is the shadow that sits underneath the lower lip. And if I want to make that less of a lip colour, I might just put in a touch of yellow ochre into that or something there. So this would be another. What am I doing that for? Yeah, it'll be alright. Okay, I just want to do something with the shadow that sits there. There'll be adjustments needing to be made, like in places on the lips and different things, but for the moment, still just trying to find the position of it and you know, knowing that it's possible to make adjustments later on. I'm doing to get a nice kind of clean edge to the edge of the face there. Like there's a kind of a diagonal here that runs pretty, you know, directly back there. But I don't want it to interrupt the light that might fall on the lower lip. And then something of the shadow that's kind of running under the chin, just to allow it to kind of, so it's going that way and then maybe tilts up a little bit. I think that's a kind of, does it do something like that? I don't know exactly, but yeah, let's leave that at that. And then I'm going to use this brush that's kind of good for carving in, to make a little bit of an adjustment, say here to the top of the lip, so we're getting a bit of the bow. You know, there's a nice little bit of light falling on the bow there, and the philtrum ends and the dip. I think there's a little bit of light, and maybe the lips don't need to go back that far either. There's some sort of thing there that kind of could do with being lifted out a little bit as well, I think. So I'm using the brush and washing it every third move, so that when I'm lifting off, I don't want to be just lifting off for ages. It's not like you're rubbing out a problem, you're kind of just using it like a rubber and charcoal to create something else. And it's fun, like, to kind of feel like there's things you can engage with like that. I think also maybe the that could change there too. Okay, Priya, thanks ever so much.